Are you being bombarded with emails about the Employee Retention Credit, the ERC, even though your CPA has told you you're not eligible? Tax planning is a real maze. I'm Larry Evans from the Millionaire Tax Solution, and I'm here to help you navigate this labyrinth on the ERC. I've talked to a number of business owners over the last several months regarding the Employee Retention Credit, and there seems to be quite a bit of confusion in the marketplace. Most employers are getting inundated with emails and phone calls asking them about claiming the Employee Retention Credit. So they are confused because many of them have had their CPAs tell them that they don't qualify. There are a couple reasons why the confusion exists. One is that many business owners are under the impression that because they received a Payroll Protection Program loan in 2020 or 2021, that they are not also eligible for the Employee Retention Credit. And while that was originally true when the CARES Act passed in March of 2020 and provided the first benefits under both PPP and ERC, it said you could only claim the PPP or the ERC, but you could not claim both. That law, though, was changed by the end of 2020 to say that if you've received a PPP loan, you can also claim an Employee Retention Credit in either 2020 or 2021. Now, you can't use the same payroll to claim both benefits. You can't claim an exclusion of income for having the PPP loan forgiven and also take a credit on the same wages that you used for the forgiveness calculation. But the bottom line is you can, even if you received a PPP loan, also receive the Employee Retention Credit. What the new law changed at the end of 2020 also did was to increase the amount of the credit from $5,000 maximum per employee in 2020 to a $21,000 per employee maximum in 2021. So that the benefit became much more significant in 2021 than it was in 2020. One client came out and asked me, is this something that's actually for real? And I said, it's absolutely for real as long as you qualify. And that gets into the thorny part, and that's where the IRS is always concerned about people who are promoting Employee Retention Credit claims. There are two ways to qualify. One is that you had to have had a reduction in gross receipts between 2019 and 2020 if you're claiming the 2020 credit, and that reduction had to be 50% in a quarter. So in other words, if you looked at the second quarter of 2019 and the second quarter of 2020, if your receipts in 2020 dropped by more than 50% from 2019, you would qualify. For 2021, you compare the receipts for 2021 quarters, first, second, and third, to the same quarters in 2019. However, for 2021, the reduction only has to be a 20% reduction in gross receipts rather than the 50% for 2020. Now, there is another way that's a more subjective way, and this is where a lot of confusion, I think, is coming from in the marketplace. If you were subject to a temporary full or partial suspension of your business due to a government shutdown order under the COVID-19 provisions, you may qualify based on this more subjective test. And you have to really analyze your business and determine if you are able to establish that your business suffered because of the COVID shutdown, a government order, and document what that shutdown was. And it's got to be at least 10% of your business that was impacted in order for it to be considered substantial. This area takes quite a bit of research in determining what actually happened to your business when the COVID orders were in place. You may have used part of your payroll in June and July, for example, of 2020 to qualify for the Payroll Protection Program forgiveness. But you've still got the rest of 2020 from August through December that could also qualify for the Employee Retention Credit. And I understand this is really difficult. Business owners are involved in their business, running their business every day. That's why it makes sense for them to hire someone who's experienced with tax planning, with claiming tax credits, to analyze what happened in 2020, 2021, and determine if you qualify for the credit. And if you qualify for the credit, to go ahead and actually prepare the amended refund claims that you would need to claim the credit. Now, the other item that's a little bit confusing to some business owners is, am I out of time? And the good news is that for 2020, any refund claims related to the ERC have to be filed by April 15th of 2024. So there's a good amount of time yet to get to 2020 claims. And for 2021 claims, the deadline is April 15th of 2025. So there is plenty of time available to do the analysis. And if you've got a really good tax planning person doing this, you will end up with savings of 4 to 5 times whatever the ultimate cost ends up being for that professional to do the work.